Hello and welcome back to another ranking video. Today will be a little bit different as I'll be talking about my favorite rides at Disneyland. I don't need to introduce Disneyland because everybody knows what Disneyland is. However, there are a couple disclaimers. First, I will only be talking about the rides at Disneyland, not California Adventure. If you want to see that video, click the card in the top right corner of your screen. Second, I will only include the rides I rode on my last trip, which took place last year. This means I will not include rides like Space Mountain, It's a Small World, or Splash Mountain in my ranking since I haven't ridden those in like 8 years. Before we get started, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it would mean a lot for me and it really helps the channel grow. Also, for those of you who don't know, I'm an artist on Spotify. If you want to listen to my song Thrasher, click the link in the description. Anyways, on to the list. Number 14, the Disneyland Montreal. Not much to say about this, it's just a train that goes around both Disneyland and California Adventure. The views are kind of cool I guess, but it's just an okay experience. Number 13, Chip 'n Dale's Gadget Coaster. I'll be honest, I drag my family on this so I can increase my coaster count. No other reason. The ride itself is okay, it's very similar to Roadrunner Express at Six Flags Magic Mountain, except this one has much better theming. Number 12, Haunted Mansion Holiday. Had I watched Nightmare Before Christmas before I rode this, I would have probably liked this more, but overall I wasn't super impressed with it. To be fair, the last time I rode Haunted Mansion was back in 2009 or 2010, and it was in Paris, so this is my first experience with Haunted Mansion in about a decade. I'm very glad I used my lightning lane for this because I would have been pretty frustrated to have waited over an hour for this. Fun ride, but I wasn't super impressed. Number 11, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. Nostalgia for the win. Growing up, this was one of my favorite rides at Disney, and it's still very fun today. Sure, it is a little old and probably outdated, but for nostalgic reasons alone, I will try to ride this on every Disney trip. Also, I finally beat my dad on this by a lot, so yay. Number 10, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Honestly, the pre-show is better than the ride itself. Only reason is because you go through that screen that blows up, and I still don't know how they do that. The ride itself is okay as you travel through lots of different scenes. Some are cool like the volcano, and some are okay like the mirrored dance. Overall, this ride is pretty fun, but I don't think I'm the target demographic for this. Number 9, Jungle Cruise. If you like dad jokes, this is the ride for you. Honestly, that is what this whole ride is about. You go on a cruise in the jungle and the employee who drives you around makes tons, and I mean tons, of dad jokes. It's a fun ride, but I probably wouldn't ride this more than once on a trip. Number 8, Star Tours. After riding the Galaxy's Edge rides, this one feels very outdated. Still pretty fun, but overall just okay. The simulation is still better than most others that I've ridden, as it is very cool to get launched into hyperspace. Also, C-3PO is up there as well, which is cool. If it weren't for the rides in Galaxy's Edge, this would probably be ranking a little bit higher. Also, speaking of the Galaxy's Edge rides, we'll get to those later, but for now, number 7, Peter Pan's Flight. More nostalgia. Another one of my favorite rides growing up. This ride is just so fun. It's a little bit short to be fair, but the experience is all there. My favorite part is definitely when you fly around the lights of London. It's just so cool and definitely the most memorable part of the ride. Number 6, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Of course, it's not the most thrilling coaster, but it's still a long and fun experience. From the cave of the waterfall to the dynamite to riding through the canyon. This ride is definitely a tame experience, but it's still very fun for all ages. Although that last little drop after the third lift hill is a little disappointing, but it's still a really fun ride. Number 5, Pirates of the Caribbean. This will always be one of my favorite rides at Disneyland. Everything about it is just awesome and immersive. Even the little part before the ride really begins when you pass by the restaurant is awesome. Of course, the drop is very fun, but the scenes are really what make this ride awesome. And of course, that song gets stuck in your head, like, the whole day. I just love this ride. I do wish it didn't end with a lift back in the station, but other than that, this ride is just beautiful. Number 4, Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run. This is by far the best simulator ride ever. Although it's really only fun to me if you're in the pilot seat, mostly because you get to send the Falcon into freaking hyperspace. It is a little difficult to control, but with enough practice, it shouldn't be that much of a problem. I can't wait to ride this again. Also, last year I built both the Falcon and piloted it, so my childhood is now complete. Number 3, Indiana Jones Adventure. Other than the mile-long queue, this is such an amazing experience. It really does feel like you're traveling with Indiana Jones on one of his adventures, especially when the boulder comes at you. So cool. This ride is kind of bumpy, but I think it's supposed to be because you're driving in an old Jeep. Words can't really describe how fun this ride is, so just go to Disney and ride it yourself. You won't regret it. Also, use Lightning Lane because that line can get really long. And now for the most controversial part of the ranking. Number 2, Matterhorn bobsleds. Shocking, right? So why is this old, rough, janky coaster from the literal 50s this high on the list? Honestly, this ride is just fun. It's essentially the original Expedition Everest. The ride is so janky and just so out of control, it's fun. But the real reason this is at number 2 is because the night ride is one of the most unhinged coaster experiences I've ever had. It feels like you're literally about to fly off the track. Also, I don't think this ride has upstop wheels, so it makes it even more insane. But even without that night ride, this still would be a top 5 at the park. Number 1, Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance. You saw it coming, I saw it coming, everyone saw this coming. I wouldn't call myself a big Star Wars fan, but I was when I was younger, and this is just an experience in and of itself. If I popped into Disneyland and just rode this, I would be pretty satisfied. For one thing, it's a really long ride with multiple sections. First is that simulator section where you exit the same door you entered, except now you're in space, and that room is arguably the second coolest room of the ride, the best being the AT-AT room, and the lightsaber through the ceiling is awesome, but that drop is so jarring if you don't see it coming, and it's just so amazing. This is by far the best ride at Disneyland, and it might even be the best ride ever made. And that's the list. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more lists like this. This channel is full of theme park and meta related videos, so if that's what you like, please watch more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.